Wait, before you jump into job applications, it's important you understand the UX design interview process. If you know me very well, you know that I love traveling. In one of my most recent trips, I had this really frustrating experience that I wouldn't wish on anyone. I booked a spontaneous trip for my birthday, but I didn't do any research about the destination I was going to, so I wasn't prepared for the heat, which is typical of Vegas in July. So I spent my time hiding indoors just to escape the heat. Can you imagine? I also arrived without a detailed itinerary, assuming that I'll figure things out as I went along, but that wasn't the case because Vegas has a ton of attractions. I ended up visiting only a handful. What a shame. I'm sharing this because we can draw a parallel lesson which can be applied to our job hunt journey. Looking back, I know that I would have had a better experience if only I had taken maybe a minute or an hour, okay, not a minute, but an hour to better prepare myself. Knowing what to expect during the UX design interview and preparing effectively can help you navigate each stage with confidence and increase your chances of landing a job. This video is for anyone who wants to understand the UX interview process to get a sense of what is expected at each stage. More specifically, I'll walk you through how the hiring process works in tech companies from both perspectives. That is, what the interviewer expects and how you, the candidate, can showcase it. The UX interview process is different at every company, but here's a general structure that most of them use for hiring UX designers. The job hunt process usually starts with submitting your resume and an application. The company receives your application and screens it with their applicant tracking system, also commonly called ATS. The keywords on your resume matches the job description. As such, your resume makes it to the desk of the HR personnel or the recruiter. At this point, they go through your resume and shortlist you as part of the candidates to move forward with. Number 1, phone screening. The first step in the UX interview process is typically a phone screening interview. This is a 15 to 20 minutes call with the recruiter or the HR representative. The interviewer will start by introducing themselves, their role, and the purpose of the call. They may briefly describe the company and the role you are being considered for. They may also give an overview of how this role fits into the larger company structure. On the interviewer's part, the purpose of this interview is to evaluate whether you meet the basic qualifications for the job, to gauge your interest for the role and how you fit into the company. They will likely ask you to give a brief overview of your professional background and experience. They may ask you specific questions about items on your resume to get a better understanding of your skills and achievements. You can also expect behavioral questions. Here are some of the questions you can expect in this stage. Can you tell me a bit about yourself? What are your greatest strengths? What's your ideal next role? Why are you leaving your current role? In some cases, they may also touch on some basic technical questions. As a candidate, make sure you have done your research on the company's value. Tie this into your answers. You should also be and sound excited to learn about the role. Prepare thoughtful questions in advance to show your interest in the position and the company. Guess what? You scaled through this first round and you're moving to the next stage of the interview with the hiring manager. Number 2, the hiring manager interview. This is typically a more in-depth conversation where you will deep dive into your process, tools, and dynamics with the teams you've worked previously with. The conversation aims to assess your fit within the company's culture and the team dynamics. The hiring manager will begin by introducing themselves and providing more details about the role you are interviewing for. The hiring manager will also ask more specific and probing questions about your previous roles, achievements, and how your experience aligns with the requirements of the position. For instance, a question they might ask might be, what specific skills or expertise do you feel make you a strong fit for this position? You can also expect to encounter more behavioral and situational questions. You can expect a behavioral question like this. Tell me about a time when you had to adapt to a significant change in your work environment or project scope. How did you handle it? You can also anticipate questions that are directly related to the responsibilities and requirements of the role you're applying for. This might include questions about technical skills, industry knowledge, or specific tasks. Here is a common role-specific question that might come up. What specific technical skills or software tools are you proficient in that are relevant to this role? They might also want to understand how you work well with others, your communication style, or how you handle conflicts. They might ask you, how do you handle feedback, both giving and receiving in a team setting? Here's a tip for you. To stand out as a candidate to remember, use the STAR method. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. You must use the STAR method when answering behavioral and situational questions so that you can provide a clear and structured response. So you won't say I haven't done anything for you. And I know you won't say that because my videos are always very valuable. Here is an additional tip. You can use Grow.Google's interview warm-up to practice and get comfortable answering interview questions. Getting back on track, the hiring manager would also likely give you an opportunity to ask any final questions. Remember that the interview is an opportunity for you to gather information that would help you make an informed decision about whether the company and the role aligns with your career goal and value. You can ask questions about the company and team. Can you tell me more about the team I'll be working with? About the role and expectations? What are the key performance indicators or metrics for success in this position? About the company's culture? How does the company promote work-life balance for its employees? About growth and development? Are there opportunities for professional development and growth within this company? About feedback and performance reviews? Can you provide insight into how feedback is given and received within the team? About recent achievements or challenges? Are there any ongoing challenges or projects that the team is currently focused on? Number 3, portfolio presentation. Once you scale through the hiring manager's interview, you will likely be asked to share your portfolio in the next interview. This step can sometimes be combined with the previous step. At this stage of the interview process, you will usually be asked to present your work to the design or the product lead, or even to the broader team of up to 3 to 5 people. You need to be prepared to walk through your project, explaining your process, how you contributed, your decisions, and outcomes. If possible, pick a complex project that you worked on that showcases your ability to solve problems, your adaptability, ability to negotiate, and technical craftsmanship. Ensure that your presentation is concise, leaving room for questions. You should also consider selecting projects that ties into the industry of the company you are presenting to. For instance, consider presenting a fintech project if interviewing with a fintech company. Finally, the secret to a well-delivered presentation is practice. Record yourself when practicing and go over the recordings to see what you can improve. Design challenge or task. Instead of a portfolio review, sometimes companies might give you a take-home task to complete within a specified time frame. This could be a hypothetical problem or a real issue they are facing. They are looking to see your problem-solving skills and how you approach this design challenge. You may be asked to submit your design solution in a specific format, such as a digital presentation, a clickable prototype, or a written document. After submitting your design solution, you may also be asked to present your work to the interview panel. You should use this as an opportunity to explain your design decisions and your thought process. Here are a few tips that you can apply in this phase of the interview. Understand the problem. Ensure you have a clear understanding of the problem before diving into the design process. Ask clarifying questions if needed. Document your process. Provide explanations for your design choices and document your process. If possible, use annotations on your Figma file or in your design, especially if you're not going to do a presentation. This helps the interviewer to understand your thought process. Meet deadlines. If there's a time constraint, manage your time effectively to ensure that you submit your solution on time. Test and iterate if applicable. If the challenge allows for it, consider testing your design with potential users and making improvements based on their feedback. This could even be a quick family and friends test or a guerrilla test. Number 4, design critique. A product or design critique is another stage of the UX interview process. It's an exercise where you are asked to evaluate and provide constructive feedback on a given design, whether it's a website, a mobile app, or a digital product. This exercise assesses your ability to analyze design choices identify areas for improvement, and communicate your reasoning effectively. You may also be asked what works, what doesn't, how it could be improved, and why the company built this feature. I highly recommend reading this Medium article if you want to learn how to do a product critique. It's by Julie Zhou. Number 5, whiteboarding challenge. A whiteboarding challenge is a common technical component of the UX interview process. Before the COVID era, it was conducted on-site and would involve solving a UX problem on a whiteboard. These days, however, they are conducted virtually utilizing video conferencing platforms like Zoom or Google Meet in combination with an online whiteboarding tool like Miro or FigJam. This interview allows companies to assess the candidate's problem-solving skills and technical proficiency. How this interview works is that an interviewer will present the problem statement or scenario while the candidate can use the virtual whiteboard to draw diagrams or sketch out their solution. While the candidate does that, the interviewer observes in real time. Some companies may not provide online whiteboarding tools and they may just require you to talk through your process. That's what happened in my case for my Yelp interview. During this challenge, it's important to ask clarifying questions before jumping into solutions. Questions like, who are we designing for? Has any research been done that's available? Are there any engineering limitations I should consider? For your solutions, come up with a couple of ideas that might address the problem, then lean on one. Make sure to explain the thought process and the reasoning behind your approach. Also, try to think about constraints that might arise in the real world and introduce them as you go along if the interviewer doesn't introduce them in the beginning of the process. Keep an eye on the time to ensure that the challenge progresses smoothly. A book that I highly recommend for this stage of the interview process is Solving Product Design Exercise by Artyom Danshinsky. I talked about this in detail in my other video where I did a bit of book reviews that UX designers pivoting into product design or starting a career in UX design should consider reading. Once you scale this stage, you are one step away from an offer. Number 6. Informal interview. Some companies may require you to go through an informal interview before issuing an offer if they have concerns about the culture fit or specific aspect of your skills. Some use it as an opportunity for you to meet the team you'll be working with if you haven't met them previously. Make sure you enter this interview prepared to clear any doubts and also prepare questions for the team as well. Throughout the different stages of the interview, if the interviewer doesn't discuss what the next steps will be, feel free to ask for expected timelines for follow-up interviews or decisions. After each interview, it's also good practice to send a thank you email to express your gratitude for the opportunity and iterate your interest in the position. Remember, each company may have variations in their interview process and some might skip or modify certain stages. It's crucial to read any communication from the company thoroughly and prepare accordingly. If you successfully navigate all the stages, congratulations, you'll receive a job offer. Good luck with your UX design interviews. Tell me about yourself is one of the toughest UX interview questions to answer in my opinion. In this next video, I'll be going into the reason why I think this is. I'll also break down how you can answer it in a way that sets a positive tone for the rest of your interview.